calling the City of Isle of Palms Accommodations Task Force meeting to order. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge that the press and the public have been duly notified of this meeting in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. The first order of business would be a roll call. Nicole, if we could do that.
Sure thing. Mr. Walker. Here. Mr. Kay.
Here.
Mr. Burns.
Here.
Mr. Jones. Ms. Vega.
Here.
Mr. Paris.
Here.
Councilmember Streetman.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Next order of business is approval of previous meetings minutes from May the 12th of this year. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Approved. Second.
Any edits or additions, deletions that anybody's noted? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. All right, next, we're going to have a presentation from the Isle of Palms Chamber of Commerce, and we're going to be calling them up. I do want to let the public know, anyone that might be watching this on live stream, that the presentation itself could be accessed next to the agenda on isleofpalms.net for the ATAX task force. So you could follow along that way if you'd like to see the presentation. And of course, later on, I mean, if someone's watching later, they can have this information as well. So with that, we'd like to welcome the Isle of Palms Chamber of Commerce for their presentation.
Take it or no, it's okay. If there's no room, it's fine. You can? I'm gonna try. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm Katrina Limbach. I'm the president of the newly founded Isle of Palms Chamber of Commerce. I've got Ryan Buchanan, who's the vice president, Scotty Fryer, who is the secretary, and then we have Sandy Stone, who's the treasurer. We're all here together to kind of give you an idea of what we're all about. We've really focused this presentation on the DMO side of things, so we don't really touch too much on the business association. If you have any questions, we have a Q&A at the end. We'd be happy to answer more, any questions y'all have about that. But we are the Isle of Palms Chamber of Commerce. We're a hybrid destination marketing organization and business association. So a little bit about who we are, brief history. Again, newly founded. We're a modern hybrid destination marketing organization and business association. We were officially incorporated as a 501c6 in January 2022. We opened for membership on April 26th of this year, and we currently have over 20 members, mostly in the hospitality and tourism industry on the island. We are projecting to have 50 members by the end of the year, and then by the beginning of next summer, we're looking to have about 100 members. So why are we a hybrid DMO and business association? Really, we found that businesses are the boots on the ground, especially in a tourism industry, which we're mainly. As a unique economy that is centered around tourism, we feel that creating overnight visitors and supporting our local business community really go hand in hand.
Sorry about that.
So we are terribly sorry that we had this technical incident that prevented us.
Talk about technically.
Starting on time. I hope you can still bear with us and follow.
Okay, you can go ahead, please.
Thank you for that. I really needed an icebreaker. Okay, but who better to lead the development of tourism branding than a group of stakeholders who can calculate, measure, and be incentivized by its success? Among us are lifelong entrepreneurs, branding and marketing gurus, savvy investors, short-term rental owners, managers, hotel managers and owners, local resident stakeholders, and the list, really goes on from there. So what is our plan our initial plan as a DMO. The first and foremost, we're trying to create a professional and vibrant brand that focuses on experiential marketing to overnight visitors. I'll touch a little more on the experiential marketing and how it's different from traditional marketing and why we feel that that's the approach to gaining overnight visitors and creating a brand for the island that we hold so dear. Here are the tactics and the things that we want to focus on this year in developing. The first, obviously, is going to be our professionally designed website. It's going to have a heavy focus on guiding visitors through the island's businesses, accommodations, services, and attractions. Number two, we're going to touch on is the annual Isle of Palms guide, which we plan to print hopefully by the end of this year or the beginning of next. That's going to be distributed island-wide and accessed digitally on our website. Also very important is professionally managed and tracked targeted paid ads through Google PPC and tracked by Google Analytics. Next, we believe that having professionally designed ads in high profile locations and in print magazines is still very important, especially for brand awareness. We'll be hopefully partnering on capital projects to beautify the commercial district through cultural and arts programs, sustainability initiatives, and other ATAX approved tourist enhancements. Having professionally managed social media is really important, especially for that experiential approach, and partnerships with other regional DMOs. So talking a little bit about experiential approach to marketing versus traditional approach. Traditional approach is kind of focusing just mainly on the actual tangibles. Experiential approach gives a more broad, holistic experience, really engaging with potential consumers, really showing them what a day in the life would be like. We know that effective tourism marketing really isn't just about heads and beds. It's about creating lifelong experiences for guests to keep them coming back year after year and generation after generation. So a day in the life of an experienced visitor is going to be different for everybody. But on the island, an example would be, waking up to a 7 a.m. tea time in Wild Dunes, heading out for a bike ride on the beach, grabbing some lunch at a local restaurant, going for a kayak expedition, and then maybe taking the kids on some sort of capers tour on a boat, ending at a beautiful restaurant that is local to our island. Those are the types of things that's going to keep people really coming back and telling their friends and having these great experiences that they're going to be connecting on social media, word of mouth to their neighbors. Stories, all of these are different stories from people who stayed on the island about what they've done. And what you're really not going to find in these stories is, man, that pillow felt good. It's really about the day that they had and the things that they did, how they made memories with their families and friends. It's about connection, and that's really what we're about. Going on to the first thing would be our branding. We're in round 3 of our logo design. We're really happy with the way that it's turned out. We've utilized Blue Ion, a local professional digital marketing and website development company. We think that they've done a beautiful job, but we're still kind of fine tuning that. But I wanted to give a brief intro to what it looks like. Our website is under development again. It's really cool because we're in this malleable stage. So we can be still influenced by our members and other players and stakeholders. But our website is going to have a heavy visitors focus, guiding them through what a day would be like on the Isle of Palms. It's going to guide them through different accommodation options, different businesses to utilize when they're here, restaurants to go to. And our website should be launched by late summer and early fall. We had a great idea of putting together, and this is just an example. I found an image online that I threw up there because all this stuff is it's not done yet. We're still in the planning stages of all these things, but having a guide, somewhere other than TripAdvisor that people can go and see where to go, what accommodations to use, where are the local businesses, really giving a locals guide, maybe instead of a visitor's guide, so that visitors feel like they're, a short-term resident for a week or a couple of weeks or a few days. Ads and analytics are very important, especially in our digital world. We're able to track where people are coming from and where they're going to, how long they're staying on the website. Are they going and just leaving, or are they staying and really engaging with the website, going to our social medias, going to our business websites and actually generating leads? And so that we feel should be professionally managed. It really should be watched. We're going to have a lot of analytics to go through from what maybe Charleston has used as a DMO, and in going through really being able to measure what kind of impact we're having. We have a unique opportunity, being a business owner, member-driven organization, to potentially be able to see who's coming to our businesses' websites and actually booking a stay. And that's something that we haven't been able to measure at all in our DMO and ATAX funds. Print ads, we think they're very important still in magazines from a holistic branding, really beautiful images and really short phrases to just grab somebody's attention and see what's that all about. Very image focused. ATAX beautification of ATAX approved tourism enhancements for beautification of the Front Beach area has been something that's been a major idea of ours. We have different ideas about string lights. A lot of residents have talked to us about things that they might want to see down there. But doing things with the arts and cultural programs, sustainability initiatives, other tourism enhancements and events, something that we find to be important. Social media is extremely important, with especially that experiential approach and having people engage with our brand or with our island, with the experience, checking in on things, and having contests there. It's really limitless what you can do now on social media. We believe it should be professionally managed, and we're in negotiations right now with several different social media firms. We believe that partnerships are really important. These are just a few of the logos of organizations who have expressed interest in partnering with us. We believe that we are better together. So supporting each other and having regional DMOs and local DMOs and the city, the police department, we all think that we should have connection and community in these initiatives. So now I would like y'all to hear it's almost poetic. So we have Blue Ion again is our marketing firm, and they have a new writer from the Garden and Gun who wrote our About Us. And when we heard it, it was like a mic drop. This is it. It's gorgeous. So we really would like y'all to hear and just take a minute to pretend this is the first time you're hearing about the Isle of Palms. Pretend you don't know what it is, never been there, never heard of the place, and just listen and hear what our About Us sounds like. And I think y'all will feel the same way we did. Scotty.
Thank you. Hey guys. What our vibrant island lifestyle is always in season. From the golden glow of sunrise to the pastel hues of dusk and every sun-soaked day in between, Isle of Palms is island living at its best. Tucked along the South Carolina coast, just outside the historic city of Charleston, Isle of Palms has drawn generations of beachgoers with its pristine natural landscape and easygoing feel. Home to many, a beloved escape to others, the island is an essential backdrop for some of life's greatest moments. The Isle of Palms Chamber of Commerce is a group of dedicated locals who know firsthand what makes this coastal enclave so special. A rare breed of southern beach town, Isle of Palms is an all-encompassing local anchored by passionate residents and a unique collection of independent businesses. Together, they foster the vibrant character for which the island is known. Officially chartered in 2022, we're here to support this treasured community, offering insider guidance and neighborly connections to all who visit our shores and those who never leave.
I know, let's give Scotty a round for that. It was amazing. But that's just it's like a little teaser into which, they've shown us after our surveys and a lot of discovery time with our branding. That's what they presented to us. And it really hit home for us. We felt that if this is the About Us, we just can't wait to see the website and what the rest of it is going to offer. So these are just a couple of things that we developed in little taglines for our island, a rare breed of southern beach town. That felt real it really hit home for us when we read that. An all-encompassing escape, and traditions start here. Again, really going after that experiential approach and generational marketing, where we're not just marketing to one person to come and stay. We're marketing to people who are going to come, stay, have an amazing time, come back, stay again with their family, book a retreat, a corporate event, their wedding. So that's really our focus. But now, thank you very much for letting us present, taking up some of your time. If you have any questions, these are just, I messed up. I was supposed to do that during the, well, okay.
I
So
want to say something real quick,
Yes.
because I think it's important in what we are trying to do, that we recognize that the chamber is not just about vacation rentals and what to do when you are here. It's also going to expand and be about the business to business, the networking opportunities within our community, the advocacy that I believe is extremely important, where we become a respected entity that council goes to, and we can go to council with that open door conversation going on. And when we have issues, it's not, butting heads. It's, hey, had you thought about this? Or council comes to us and says, hey, how's this going to affect you? I think that's very important moving forward. Then I want to point out that probably the rental industry, while it can be a little abrasive in some people's minds, it probably is why almost 50% of the residents are here. They stayed here at some point. They were introduced at some point, either through a business meeting or a family vacation. And that's the other side of what I feel that we're going to be advocates for as well. These families that are moving to our community, and be a resource to all of those. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. We'd like to open up for a question and answer session if y'all have any questions.
Okay, thank you. And anyone on the group want to weigh in with some questions?
You've done an amazing job in a short period of time to put all this together. It's pretty phenomenal. I guess my question is, are you sure that you can be a DMO plus a Chamber of Commerce? Legally, are we allowed to combine the two?
Yes.
Yes.
You're sure?
Yes. We actually, when doing our research in January, we started doing a lot of research into different Chamber of Commerce's and business associations. And we were trying to focus on places that had a similar economy to ours, high destination. And during our research, we found that there exists these modern hybrids because it's so focused on, we have an economy that is so focused on tourism that it makes sense. And so when we were doing our research, we found other organizations that were similar to this model, and we saw their success, and it was inspiring to us.
Aspen is a very good example of a very successful community that embraces a DMO as well as a chamber with the interaction of the members and the businesses.
But are they two separate groups?
No,
Yes, sir.
Defy Aspen, I think, or just Defy Imagination, I believe is their tagline. So if you Google it after, you'll see how they're structured and what.
What's the other big one? Sedona?
Arizona.
Those two websites, it's really well done. They lay everything right there.
I think the best part about it is you have, instead of two separate organizations, a DMO trying to figure out what the business aspects want and what the business are doing and what they're trying to achieve. Now we have these folks working together as one single entity, trying to promote, the one goal.
So again, to kind of expand on your question, it is going to be the members that are joining that are going to be asking that the DMO be accountable to the members for results. So everyone standing here, as well as all the other members, are going to want to know what the results are, how many hits, how many conversions, and how many people came and had dinner at this restaurant, or rented bicycles, or stayed in a vacation rental, that sort of thing. We want to know how well the success is with the money spent.
And hopefully with that data that we have, that we can be able to accumulate through our website, we can give reports to council on that information and regular updates of where all that money or where those funds are being spent and how that traffic is going throughout the island. It's something we haven't had in the past.
Now, do you hire a professional organization to help you, like the Red Dog that we heard from Folly Beach? Is that something that you would even consider or even necessary?
100% absolutely necessary. We're a volunteer only organization. And we, as much as I think that I have branding experience, I can't touch with these organizations who live, breathe, 40, 60 hours a week doing this. And so we would absolutely be hiring out our marketing services and having them overseen. But like things like Google Analytics, it changes daily. I mean, really daily. And so somebody has to be fully dedicated on and, as smart as we all think we are, we just, we're just not qualified for that type of work. And we think that, saying that we would just be a disservice to ourselves and to our community. Little dog,
Is it little dog or big dog? What the
big
heck
dog, red dog.
It's like dog, dog.
Little.
Are there others that you've talked to compete?
Currently right now, Blue Ion is doing our website and our branding for us. And so there's different, there's going to be different people who are going to be involved. We don't believe that one agency should really take the full thing. We think there should be some checks and balances. So somebody who's really great at social media should be taking social media. Our website company we know is Blue Ion. I encourage y'all to check out their website after this meeting and just see what they've done. They've done things for Kiowa's Community Association, Key West Boats. I mean, and it's very interactive, very image focused, very engaging. But having a professional Google Analytics company doing your marketing digitally is, another thing.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Blue Ion's like top of the class and
They're also a really good team to work with.
and they're very expensive. I know that, but
It wasn't too bad, honestly, looking at that compared to others.
but you're not going to rely on them for measuring and analytics, are you? Or is there another source?
I don't believe that we'll use them for analytics, but we just haven't gotten that far. We've been really focusing on our branding at this point, taking it in stages.
Each one of us in the hospitality business has a source.
Mhm.
Sandy's got one, we've got one, we got a good one.
Mhm.
I'm sure Beachside has one, and I'm sure you'll be drawing on that to find the people that will be doing these.
Yeah,
measures.
I mean, we really, talking to our members and seeing, hey, who do y'all use? Are you happy with them? And getting other people's experience in this industry and then grabbing quotes from those people. That's what we've been
Okay.
planning to do for our contracts moving forward.
So initially, we are focused with Blue Ion. We'll go through the process with Blue Ion, developing our website, helping us with the branding and developing that. And then as we move forward to that next stage or next phase, more of the membership will be engaged. Right now, it's been the four of us really running with the football, trying to get this thing up and running as fast as we can. And we have done, as Curtis says, I think an amazing job in a very short amount of time to get to a point where we're hoping to launch here 4 months, 3 months, 6 weeks if we can.
Right. Let me ask a question. Where do you see yourself as a chamber in a year, say? I mean, how do you think you'll be established at that point, ready to fly? I mean, fully ready to go? I mean, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing we want to have under our belts is we want to have that strong website and branding launched. And we want our business members to feel that they're represented by us from a marketing perspective. And also having that established relationship with the city has been really important. We've already, we've established meetings with the city monthly, which has been great. We've really been engaged with them, but we would like to start by partnering on some events. We don't believe that we're quite ready to have our own event yet. So partnering with like the Exchange Club Run has been something that we've been wanting to do. We would love to have some sort of impactful beautification project that's under our belts in 12 months. Other things y'all want to add?
I think some of the things that the rec department does for the community would be a natural fit for the business of community to take on. And I don't have a list together right now, but to answer your question, Rusty, breaking down a year from now. So on this day, 1 year from now, we hope to have had the website in place for at least 9 months. And we will get monthly reports and measures on the growth of our website and how it's working. So a year from now, we hope to have some pretty good data on how our monies have been spent and what that return on that investment is. We've done some preliminary projections, but it's all pie in the sky. I have a little bit of experience. Trina has experience. I mean, we all have some experience, and that's what we're trying to combine to come up with. Well, where will we be a year from now? That's the hope, and I think that will be the reality in a year. I believe we'll have more membership interaction. We'll probably have some more committees put together that will do some of the focus work that we're talking about in terms of there'll be people that will be actually in charge of the website. There'll be people in charge of events, meetings, getting our lunches together. I hope we can have a lunch by then. And today at noon, by the way, we're having a meeting, no lunch, again over at the Sea Cabins. So yeah, I think we're doing, we're taking baby steps to get going. By a year from now, I'm hoping to have what Trina's quoted, 100 members. I expect us to be up and running with a very vibrant organization that's interacting with both its membership and networking, and interacting with the city at a level that's a lot nicer than what it has been in the past on some of the issues. So.
Have you received ATAX money to help fund all this? How do you pay for it?
No,
I've got a
Out of your
checkbook.
pocket?
Ryan's got a checkbook. No, we're self-funded right now.
They did come to the ATAX committee.
Yeah, that's-
requesting, $2,000 to help fund some of the work. The committee decided to not take any action at the time.
Did they give a reason?
No,
No reason. They just said no.
I believe that the action was to table it to another time, and they requested additional information.
I think it might be beneficial to watch it if, it's on,
What?
I think it's on YouTube if you want to watch that meeting when we did. It was suggested to us by city officials to go for a grant from ATAX that we were very well qualified. So we came in, we gave a presentation, and I think it's worth a watch if you'd like to see it.
And I think there wasn't any follow-up after that meeting because of the lack of a quorum.
There isn't actually an ATAX committee that can vote on anything right now. So
After that meeting, it was kind of
after
dissolved.
tonight, yeah.
That's right.
Quick question on the partnering slide I saw. I saw Explore Charleston up there. How do you guys envision partnering with Explore Charleston and other DMOs or other organizations?
Yeah.
How does that look?
It's a great question, especially now, we obviously it's kind of a hot topic. We feel that, Explore Charleston has done a phenomenal job from a regional standpoint of getting Charleston really up there. It's an international name, and we do attribute a lot of that to a lot of the things that Explore Charleston has done with their marketing. We think that their marketing is quite frankly brilliant for Charleston. I know they've said before that a high tide raises all ships. And we believe that to a point, but we also believe that we need our own ship. How are we going to rise if we don't have our own vessel? And so we think that partnership, we've had a great relationship with them so far. They've been incredibly supportive with us. They will be a member of the chamber, but having that relationship and partnership without actually being part of. We think that's important. Again, checks and balances are really important in all we do, especially with, publicly derived money. And so, we believe in continuing a great partnership and relationship. They have expressed interest in taking all of our branding and putting it into their website and kind of working on that exchange. Because let's be honest, we're a beautiful island and it's an amazing escape. But downtown Charleston is a huge reason people come here, and we can't discount that. So we should embrace it, and that's what we've been trying to do.
We look at them as the global. They're very generic as far as Isle of Palm, Sullivan's Folly, you know, the other communities with their indirect marketing of our area. We want to be that direct marketing of Isle of Palms, that branding of Isle of Palms. So we're not going to compete at all. In fact, I hope that there is an efficiency there that feeds through to us, as it has to many of the businesses that we all know exist in the community. But more directly, that's what our goal is, to be the Isle of Palms.
So really, we really want to get boots on the ground and have a say in how those funds are being directed and how they're being spent. Well, I said there was a lot of it was trickle down, and it was broad based and spread throughout Charleston. We want to have more say in how it's being spent out here.
Who would execute the strategy? Meaning, okay, if you were funded through the ATAX 30% fund, who would be making the decisions within the chamber on executing the strategy for doing internet marketing or doing, you know, this kind of marketing? Who is making those decisions, and is it a committee, and who's on the committee, or who forms that committee, and how does that all happen?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great question. And, you know, we've talked about that extensively. Having a committee, well, let me start here. What's great about us right now is we're malleable, meaning that we can make those decisions as they come. What's going to work best? What's going to work the best for the city? What's going to, you know, be the most impactful, but also accessible from city officials and residents and stakeholders. So yes, forming a committee is certainly what we're going to need to do. What exactly that committee looks like, we haven't hammered that out, because we believe that that takes a lot of input from people like you, other business members, and so on.
Would that committee have to be Chamber of Commerce members?
I think initially
Yeah.
it will be, and as we move forward, that could be subject to change. But currently, to answer your question, it's the four of us making all those decisions. And we're looking forward to bringing in members that have other ideas. We're also looking, as you just heard, at a lot of the other communities around the country that are doing this, Aspen, Sedona. We're trying to mimic what they're doing, because theirs is working very well.
Right.
I think it's a great idea to bring somebody, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to answer real quick, just elaborate a bit. I believe it would be a good opportunity to possibly bring somebody who's appointed from the city to help on the committee, just to have that like total immersion of ideas and checks and making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, you know, I think that that's the role. The ATAX committee, just as they are now asked to review the budget that's provided by the CVB. If the city decides to partially fund this chamber to also serve as a DMO, which the law would allow, then that same process would be followed. They would come to the ATAX committee and to council with a budget request and some type of, you know, ideas for the year. We review that. Does it align with the city's goal, with the local ATAX goal? Does it align with the city's vision? Provide feedback and, you know, have that, again, that feedback loop to ensure that what they're doing, if they do receive tourism promotion dollars from the city, is aligned with what the city wants to see at a local level. So I don't think that there's a need to create a new committee or new group. I mean, the structure is already in place to allow for that feedback to come back and forth between the city and the DMO.
One thing I'm unclear on, I know that like Folly, if the city set up their own 501c3 nonprofit DMO committee, by state law, that committee has to be cross-functional with hospitality, lodging, cultural, and at large. I don't know whether that same requirement exists for your kind of an organization. I just don't know, but that would be a question.
Does the current DMO have a committee like that?
Pardon?
Does the current DMO have a committee like that?
CVB.
No. Well, who knows?
Right. Again, we're all ears.
No, I'm just telling you what the state
Yeah.
law is saying. If
Right.
the city, because what the state law says, that if one doesn't exist, the city would form their own and that committee would mirror this
Exactly.
cross-functional thing of hospitality, lodging, cultural, and at large. So, I don't know how CVB fits in that because they are the elephant in the room. That's the existing situation. And so I don't think they have a requirement for the same cross-functional
Gotcha.
membership.
And I think.
Well, and I don't think that would apply
No,
to
I think
the,
It goes to what Desiree said earlier with the ATAX committee actually is your cross-functional network where you have
Right.
all your, that double check on those funds being spent.
that's correct.
Okay,
If,
all right.
if the city were to create an organization like what they have done, that would trigger the creation of a separate entity, but they are separate. They've kind of, developed on their own. They're a chamber according to state
Yeah,
law.
I
They would be
understand.
eligible.
I'm saying I don't have all the answers either. I'm just trying to understand
But
how
my-
that group would be formed.
My
and-
interpretation and understanding and talking with others about how the ATAX advisory committee is we would come to you with our information and our ask for funding annually. And you would approve or disapprove or ask questions for clarification, what it is that we are doing. And I hope by at some point in the very near future, we're at that stage where we're presenting similar today, but with more data, what we've done and what our expected next year will be like for funding.
Okay, that leads me to the next question, which, we've had challenges with our current DMO concerning transparency and accountability, and everyone knows about that. Is your Chamber of Commerce willing to be totally transparent and accountable on all financial aspects of the DMO part of your organization?
We live here.
Yeah, I know,
That's
but
the
that's not the
difference.
answer.
Yes.
It's a must. And that's one of the biggest things is transparency is a big problem, whether within government or within DMOs. And I think our plan really is to take all the analytics that we have and supply them to the ATAX committees and supply them to the city. So they know where all the information is going, as well as open up the books.
It's our intention, honestly, to have the budget available and the profit and loss available to all members, and there's no reason that we would want to hide anything from the city either at this point.
No, I think what we'd like to see, the ATAX committee by law has the requirement to review the budget
Correct.
for the new year, whatever, and then at the end of the year, review all of the expenditures that were made to that budget. And I would think the committee would want some detail on those expenses as opposed to just summary numbers on like a statement.
Well-
And that's what I'm asking. Are you willing to,
Right.
okay, if you come in with a budget and say, okay, we're going to do this, and this, and we have allocated this money for these activities, at the end of the year, come in and say, okay, here's the budget, here's what we said we're going to do, here's what we did, and everyone's happy.
We plan on being just as transparent as the city is with their budget. If that helps at all. I mean, it's online, it's available, and it's.
That would be great.
Yeah, that's to our benefit. It would be a disservice to us personally and to our businesses if there was a lack of trust or transparency with what we're doing.
Well, I think that, just one quick point. The challenge with the CVB is that it's a regional marketing organization, and what they do supports many neighborhoods and many communities. So it is hard. I think understanding what they've presented, it is hard for them to allocate specifically from their regional activity. How does that benefit IOP? This would be different because they're only going to be advertising Isle of Palms. So I think that should simplify the reporting and the direct return on investment, I guess, that you could see. So I don't think that the CVB is intentionally not transparent. I think that just the nature of their business is different.
You completely stole my thunder.
I didn't mean to.
I was going to make the point that they represent Explore Charleston, 10 municipalities. And, and it's you all, I mean, you've made a great presentation here today, by the way, I think. But you all are going to be totally focused on the Isle of Palms. And to me, I mean, it's going to be, if you do what you say you're going to do, it's going to be a completely transparent situation as you deal with Isle of Palms, and you get the analytics and the results and be able to communicate those back to the community and to the council. One of the things that you said is I really do like the idea of strengthening communication between the businesses on the island and city council. That's something that's been long overdue. Ryan could tell you that. Sandy could tell you that. We all know that. And this is, I think, a good opportunity with the way that you all have put this together and your mission and your vision to really have a very strong organization going forward that would be a real asset to the island, quite honestly.
Thank you.
We have 20 members now. How much have y'all raised just to get things started?
Thousands.
I think we're coming in about 30 from membership.
30,000.
Yeah, just about.
That's almost enough to pay Blue Line.
That's right. We've been really excited with the responses that we've gotten and the engagement we've gotten. Again, our initial members have been very heavily short-term rentals, accommodations, and hospitality. But we're hoping to get everyone.
Is it safe to say that most of the island residents know this is happening?
Yeah, I think so. We've done our best to put it out there. I've put it on neighborhood pages personally. We've put it up on some key marquees, and Island Eye has been really helping us get the word out. So yeah, people come up to me all the time. Hey, I heard about that chamber. What's going on? And so it's been cool. It's been vibrant. It feels good to have all this goodness.
And while we are, and what Sandy brought up is going to be, member benefits and try to do business driven and tourism driven. We really want to have a strong residential input on it as well. So if folks are new to the area or want to book something for guests that are in town or want to book something on their own, they could go directly to this website and find out, to the residential portion of it and start booking all that information or look up that information, what events are coming around, what's around the corner on our calendar, city calendar, and see what's see what they can do is there. This needs to be also resident driven.
Did I understand it right? And I'm probably off balance here, but does a tax money that would help y'all's DMO, would that be applicable to improving the resident experiences such as the recreation department and stuff like that? Can you put that money into that?
No, it has to be tourism enhancements. But we're hoping that some tourism enhancements that we can do could have a cross benefit into residential life as well. Like we said, we really want visitors to kind of have that residential local feel when they come and experience the island. And we really want to, we personally don't want this to be, okay, we just want as many people as we can get on the island. That's not good. That's not good for residential life. It's not good for the tourism life either. If they're trying to have a good experience and they're going to a beach that's too crowded, or they can't get anywhere because of traffic, or the grocery store is just lines out the door, that's not good for their experience either. So we totally believe in walking that line, which is a fine line, but there is a line to walk, almost do a nice dance around. But balancing that has been, an art that I think that the city's always tried to balance. And we're, completely immersing ourselves into learning the art and doing our best to
compared
perfect that.
to the Sedona and Aspen. That's a whole different crowd of visitors. They have lots of money. They come in on their jets and stuff like that. So that's a different crowd than Foggy
Open the
Beach.
airport.
And so I think that one of the goal that the chamber would have would be to at least have some form of communication to the residents that the idea is to elevate the visitor that's coming here. To me, that's to be Sedona, Aspen, as opposed to.
Yeah, the island checks all the boxes, I think, to have like an elevated experience. And again, that multi-generational aspect to, bring your family for a really nice, high quality experience is something that, we're focusing on with our branding and our imagery and the experiences that we're trying to curate for guests to have. Anything else?
How long is that ATAX money available to be used this year? Is there a deadline in which you
Desiree?
lose it?
State law requires that ATAX funds are spent within 2 years of
Oh,
receipt.
so you've got, from when? From when we receive the income?
That's right.
Oh,
I mean, it's
okay.
a rolling, we get,
Okay.
we get ATAX revenue every year. So my guess is they would be coming to the city ahead of a budget cycle.
Okay.
With, according to state law, they have to prove to the city that they have an existing ongoing tourism promotion program. And if so, they would qualify as a direct marketing organization. And the law allows for communities to distribute that 30% monies for tourism promotion between one or more DMOs.
But you have
As
2
of right
years.
now, yes, as of right now, there's only been the CVB. They are, I guess, they're positioning themselves to also be a DMO that would be eligible to receive those funds.
And at one time, the city did split those funds and split it between the CVB and the organization in Mount Pleasant one time. So it was the Visitors Bureau in Mount Pleasant.
That's right.
If I'm not mistaken, there has been an opinion that has come from, is it Turks? Mr. Riggs, the head of is it the Turks? Am I saying it right?
Turk, yes.
Turk.
Well, Turk
OS.
requested an opinion of the Attorney General. I don't think that's been,
No, but
Really?
moving back a little bit, there was some language that I thought I read, and I'll have to see if I can find it, where an established entity, much like us, who is developing a website could be funded. Now, as an existed entity with an ongoing DMO already in place, there's no question. But, and I don't know.
yeah,
where
you
I read
are
this.
right, Sandy, because the law says that has an existing ongoing tourism promotion program or has the ability to create one.
And that's where we are. So.
We're in between those two
Well,
things.
we're on our way developing it, is my point.
Sarah, did you have a question?
Regarding the website development that y'all are working on, is that all inclusive of island businesses at this point, or is it only Chamber of Commerce?
That's a really good question. The way we have our membership is what we want to be is we would like to be all inclusive of all businesses in some fashion. But we do want to focus on our members maybe more. We don't really know exactly what that's going to look like yet because we've been so focused on the discovery, branding, and logo design, the about us, that we haven't gotten to the actual wireframes of the website. And if you guys, a wireframe of a website is basically a blueprint to a house, wireframe to website. Seeing that wireframe and making those decisions have not exactly happened yet, but that will be coming in the next few weeks. I believe if we are a DMO that we should be inclusive to all island businesses. And then, highlighting members, we're going to put them into categories so it's easy to go through. But we're going to kind of have like two sections. Our main facing website is going to be visitor residential focused. And then we're going to have the chamber side, which is going to be like a member side, where members can interact with each other, and members can post things and being a little more of a association type of feel, where the front facing side of the website is going to be, very visitor and residential focus, guiding people through the experience of Isle of Palms.
So networking is extremely important, and that's where you're hitting on, is that member to member. And also those members are important to us from the outside looking in to help guide us as well. And then the government advocacy that Rusty spoke to, I think is extremely important moving forward. And then there's the tourism aspect, being responsible to the community for tourism as well as to ATAX.
And just for clarity's sake, I think I already know the answer, but can you guys confirm how many of your residents and business owners on the island?
Out of the four of us, 3 or 4,
I didn't understand the question.
75%.
You're both a resident and a business owner. From your
Yes.
Perspective.
Yes.
Charleston resident.
he's Charleston resident. Gives a good, like,
Scotty
which we
might-
need that
Scotty
input
might as
too. I
well
think
vote
it's,
here. He spends most nights here.
that's right. So yeah, Scotty's the like band and event manager at Windjammer, and it's just incredible what he has been able to do within this organization, and also give a little bit of an, and not outsider, but kind of like a regional aspect into like, what the neighborhoods are feeling and that sort of thing. Because we believe that that's really important to our island, is having, well-established relationships with our neighboring communities, Mount Pleasant, Folly Beach, downtown Charleston, all that. So
So we hope that businesses from Mount Pleasant will join because they want to be part of that networking and the advocacy part, as well as just the member to member association for businesses doing business together.
And while we are all encompassing to all businesses, membership, I'm going to steal this tagline, membership has its privileges. And what it'll do is it'll elevate you different places throughout the website or advertising, event sponsorships and stuff like that.
Do you have a different level of membership?
yes, we do have a lot. Yeah, we did tons of research on different memberships and how people, stratify these memberships across different organizations. And we fell at a place that we thought was really accessible. You can be a member for $250 a year, which is, in this economy, we thought that was very reasonable. And then you can go all the way up to a founding member at
For a
$2,500.
limited time only. Available today.
Salesman.
Now.
4 easy payments. Okay, sorry. I'll stop.
Any other questions?
I had one more just for the record. I know piggybacking on what Ray was getting at about the diversity within membership, that it's not only restaurants, it's not only short-term rental companies. Can you maybe speak to that? How the membership as of today, how does a membership look like and what your goal is for it to look like in a year?
Yeah, I mean, right now, again, we're heavy into the tourism and hospitality, but I also have painters, photographers, contractors, contractors. And, I can't emphasize still about shit this enough. We're in a place that we're flexible and we're really open to input. We're all ears. We're not in this headstrong place where we're like, nope, we want to do it this way. Like, we'd love your input. If there's something that would make it better from a committee standpoint, from a checks and balances standpoint, from the city or the ATAX committee, like we're ears, and we're willing to listen to different types of ideas y'all have on that committee within our organization structure, who would oversee the funds or oversee the, decision making and in that aspect.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you so much for the presentation and for being here today. Excellent presentation, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time, y'all.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Oh my God.
No, don't worry.
Oh, don't forget today at noon. Sit down in the conference room. Last chance to be a founding member.
Thank you. All right, moving on with our agenda. Item number 4, brainstorming session to define success based on stated goal and discussion of ideas and recommendations for the management of the 30% for tourism promotion. I had handed out to the task force before we began the meeting, an updated copy of the discussion items we had at our last meeting, which was, what does success look like and things to consider. But we had 7 different items that we discussed. I think it probably would be good for us to just kind of quickly go through those. Desiree, do you want to lead that discussion?
Oh, that's okay. No, this is, I think it's a new one. Sure.
Yeah.
All we did, so we went through it line by line last meeting. I was going to say last month, but I think it was this month. And added a couple of points that were included in the discussion that I thought were important. What does success look like? One of the items that we talked about was having more accountability, having more frequently financial reporting from the DMO, have those report available online, focusing on establishing performance metrics, having a contract with the DMO that details expectations and those performance metrics, financial reporting specific to Isle of Palms tourism promotion activities, and create a staff position to dedicate manage. I'm not sure what happened there. Create a staff position to dedicate and manage tourism in relationship with the DMO. Local focus, very focused on developing IOP specific branding, IOP specific tourism advertisement, not only as part of the Charleston Beaches campaign or the regional approach, but having a more local focus moving forward. We've talked about more flexibility in the use of 30% day tax and the challenges that exist today because of the state mandate that has to be spent on tourism promotion and advertisement. But the conversation was that the city should really position itself to advocate at the state legislature to lower the percentage, not 30%, but maybe something lower, 20, 15, whatever that may be.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have other beach municipalities that are partnering with us on that particular issue.
Well, as of right now, I know the mayor has it as one of his priorities to develop some type of support group from
Right,
other
okay.
communities that may be interested in partnering in this approach. Power is in numbers, and with something like this, it's going to require a strong political effort to get this changed. Number 4, resident input in how funds are spent, of actively engage the Isle of Palms community in setting the vision and the strategy for what tourism promotion for IOP will look like. That could, we can look at that as having more collaboration with the ATAX committee, which is a group of residents or volunteers that serve in that local advisory board. Having more collaboration with the city, making sure that our vision between the vision of the DMO and the city are aligned, as well as the mission and the strategic plan from city council. We talked about focusing tourism promotion during the shoulder seasons, diversifying what tourism activity and the clientele looks like, particularly in the shoulder season. So pursuing activities that may not be as impactful to traffic and congestion, but still generate accommodation dollars to the city in in different ways, less impactful ways, such as conferences, weddings, and such. And then we talked about tourism management focus, supporting tourism development while preserving and maintaining residential quality of life. So balancing that line that Katrina was talking about of supporting tourism, but also remembering that this is a place that a lot of people call home, and hopefully bringing more people to decide to live here after having a nice experience here during vacation. And an interdisciplinary approach that includes tourism management and city planning and policy making. So along those lines, making sure that the needs and the goals are aligned between the city and what tourism looks like for the island.
Okay, thank you, Desiree. Now, this is what we discussed and what we captured from our last meeting, all of these points here. I guess I would ask the group, is there anything else that comes to top of your mind as to what we would want to see from a DMO going forward? Because this is basically the items that we discussed, that ideas that we would, want to, memorialize and recommend to council that we'd want to see from a DMO going forward. Sam? Okay.
Along with more accountability. I think we should actually more accountability and collaboration. I think that's what we're looking for. Just being able to have that input. Collaboration is another part of that is missing.
Right. Anything else? Okay, the second part of the question I think that we were tasked with is recommendations to council regarding future DMO or DMOs. And of course, there's also an attorney general's opinion that's still hanging out there that we really haven't heard from at this point either, that was mentioned earlier. But what kind of recommendations, and I'm asking all of you to weigh in on this if you could, what kind of recommendations to council should we be making regarding future DMOs?
I think that Sullivan's Island has a wonderful cultural setup, and that we should be joining them on advertising and also benefiting from what they've learned that we could possibly do on our recreation center out there where we have all that green grass, that we could have events that we could join with them. Since they've already been doing it, they probably have a pretty good idea on what's popular and what isn't popular. And that would be, to me, a way that you could advertise tourists. That's what we're supposed to be doing, is promoting tourism in this ATAX, right?
I guess you meant Folly rather than Sullivan's.
No, I meant Sullivan.
You did Sullivan? Well,
They have they have a lot of cultural stuff.
Right,
over there.
right.
That's-
I got that. And that would be sort of a tactical thing that would happen later in my mind. The question I'm asking is, what does this group feel like we should be recommending to city council as to how we move forward with DMO? Our DMO right now is Explore Charleston, CBB. And it's going to be for the foreseeable future. I mean, that's what's in place. So the 30% that we're tasked with is going to be going to the CVB. Now, do we have recommendations as to how that should look going forward, knowing that we have the CVB in place now? Do we want to consider that we, at some point, split some dollars off of that and go with a chamber type approach like that presentation today? Or do we want to do something like what Folly Beach has done, set up their own DMO?
but we're
Yeah,
doing that
I see.
right now. If
Well-
this group is true. I mean, they're saying they can be our DMO.
Yeah, I think we essentially have three options that we need to think about. One is the existing structure, which the city continues to designate CVB as our direct marketing organization, and all of the 30% of tourism promotion funds go to them. There is another option, which is the Folly Beach model, that where the city created a nonprofit organization, appointed a separate board that oversaw that nonprofit organization for the expenditure of that 30%. Or does the city want to recognize more than one DMO in addition to the CVB, like the Chamber of Commerce that you heard from today, and split that 30% in some capacity? We can talk about what the appropriate split would be. Once they can prove to you all that they have an existing tourism promotion program, or can prove that they have the ability to create a tourism promotion program for the expenditure of 30%. So I see those as essentially being the three options. And I think what Rusty wants to get at, I'm sorry, I think what the chair wants to get at is, let's start thinking about what kind of structure we want to see in the future for the 30%. I don't think that we're talking yet about specific activities that what we want them to do, but kind of high level structure wise, what would be a productive, effective system for the city.
my recommendation to the ATAX committee would be to wean ourselves off of the CVB. However we do, I don't think a complete split would be to our benefit. I believe that a percentage increase over the time and year, we let them know exactly what our plan is. And that is, some percentage now goes to them, a smaller percentage than they get 100% now. So we have to figure out what percent that is. And I like the chamber. These are people that were on our committee 2 weeks ago. So, this is all local people trying to do the best for the businesses and I think one of their primary objectives is to make sure that the community, the residents understand the business objectives and they're not going to be intrusive upon the residential lifestyle. I think that's very important. Something maybe at the city, I think the city's objective is to make sure that the residents are in good shape. And so now you've got the two. I love their idea of creating their DMO, and I think that's where the money should go over time, almost to the point, as long as they're proving they're worthwhile, those percentages increase and the percentages with the chamber, with the CVB decrease. It'll make the CVB work harder for their money over the time, as long as they know exactly what our percentage objectives are, and we can actually define them on a year-by-year basis now, so that you're going to get 10% this year or 50% this year and 40% the next year and 30% if you're not giving us what we've been looking for that we haven't been getting. Or I don't recommend a clean break. I recommend a weaning off.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way we can make a clean break right now. I mean, right now, the CVB gets the entire 30%, 100% of the 30%. It would seem to me that a strong recommendation that we could make to the council would be that as we move forward during the course of this next year, that we put accountability on the CVB to deliver some of the things that we talked about under accountability and more local focus for us. So that those first two items to me, more accountability from the CVB and more local focus for the Isle of Palms, are the two big things that we've been asking for anyway. Is there anything different than that we should be expecting from the CVB over the course of the next year? And I think we also could, as part of that, if council approves, is putting them on notice that we do have another DMO, another alternative going forward with our Chamber of Commerce, which is developing itself, which still has a lot to grow, a lot to develop. And then of course they would have to make sure they could prove their worth too. But we all know, just in hearing this conversation today, that that's probably at least a year out before they get to the point where there'd be some viability there to be able to come to the ATAX Advisory Committee and then ultimately council to see if there could be some of those DMO dollars or 30% dollars that would be carved off and given to them to promote Isle of Palms. What I like about what I've heard today and what we have memorialized on our input is that kind of covers not only what we have right now with the CVB, which is a big regional organization that covers 10 municipalities in Charleston County as well, but it also going forward, we would have more flexibility if we have a strong Chamber of Commerce in place that could give us the Isle of Palms experiential thing that they were talking about, where they are strictly devoted to the island and targeted marketing to bring in what they call it, I think, generational type tourism, that sort of thing. So to me, that would be a good recommendation for council.
Now, are we supposed to recommend then a certain dollar amount that would go to the new?
No, it's not our task. Our task
would be a percentage of.
No, our task today is to go to council and say, since we have the CVB in place now, what kind of accountability do we want to see from them?
So you're saying we have to live with what we have now?
Yes.
Well, then why are we talking about a new DMO?
because it could be an alternative going forward. There is no new DMO that we can put in place right now.
But those funds are available for 2 years.
Yeah, Curtis, give me another DMO that we could go to at this point.
One point of clarification, the 30% money, you don't have 2 years to spend.
Oh,
30%, you have the language in the law says immediate.
It has.
Well, it has to be allocated immediately to the DMO.
Right.
But the state law does give,
Yours goes to the 65%.
Right, but the 30% has to be given on an annual basis
that's right.
by the city from our, that's the 30% of our A-tax funds have to be presented to the DMO or DMOs that we have in place. Right now, and for the foreseeable future, we only have one DMO in place, and that's Explore Charleston CBB.
Can we make the recommendation to the ATAX committee that they support the organization of a DMO for future benefit to the city with the chamber, that they support the chamber's efforts to create a DMO? If that means granting them money so that we're prepared to have alternatives other than this, can that be one of our recommendations? Because obviously we all want to get away. I think it's very clear that most of us on this advisory committee or task force believe that that money going to the CBB needs to change. Am I wrong?
No.
Okay. Yes, Sam?
I think that personally, I think
They are.
I think they have professionals that are dedicated to that. Other marketing organizations out there, they don't have that. The CBD is also on the same side of the table with us financially, right? Their budget gets bigger as our dollar increase, right? But what happens when a hurricane comes through, like wipes out? Right? Their budget goes down. They don't have a retainer. They don't get paid monthly. They're not a for-profit institution. So one of my concerns about going to 501c that will manage a for-profit part of the agency, potentially, they wouldn't be there for us if there's a downturn, right? They're a for-profit institution. I mean, what money are people going to be spending? This is the 30% is the only dollars the city of Isle of Palms has for marketing expenditures. Allocation that the city has that feeds. So I personally think our best path forward, if there are no options, but I think we need to repair that relationship. I think we can take these or what does success look like, all these points, and I think we need to work this out. But I think the Isle of Palms Chamber of Commerce, the concert partners, I think we can have both. But we need to sit down, the city, the chamber, and Explore Charleston, that relationship out. How does that?
So you, I guess, disagree with what I just said in that you'd rather stick it with the CVB and just work on that relationship.
Work on that relationship and have the opportunity to partner with the Chamber of Commerce for down the road. I don't think they're ready to handle $800,000 quite yet in this early stage.
What Randy's suggesting though is going forward, we need to recommend that we do our own DMO. And, part of our money would be our local DMO. The rest of it could be CBD. But we need to sort of plant a seed so that we have something going forward besides always CBD.
And by publicly planting the seed, you might get what you're looking for, Sam, with more cooperation from the CBB. In other words, we need a competitive atmosphere for the Isle of Palms, not just trying to work something out, because we all know exactly that they're going to always say it's hard for us to measure. Where we get strictly to some entity that can give us more direct measurement, just like we do at my company. We're looking for direct measurement as opposed to, well, we don't know what's going to. So I agree with you. They're great. There's no question. They're huge.
Well,
but we need to have a plan. alternate to that.
I think that also we want, I just want to make sure we're all clear. When we say create a DMO, that means the city doing what they just talked about wanting to do. So we would be creating a third entity.
I don't think we're talking about, I don't know if we want the city to be doing a DMO. I
Well,
think we have-
that's,
need
yeah.
To have an alternative to the city. The DMO for the city is the ATAX committee overseeing a DMO. And that would be kind of a conflict of interest for having within the same city. In other words, it's a separate entity. And so is there anybody here that thinks the city should create their own DMO?
Well, I think that's what Curtis was saying. And I don't know if what you mean is to continue, partner.
If in fact they can do the DMO, then you got it in place. They're working on it. They did a pretty impressive presentation, and you've got some pretty good people there that are behind it. And so, no, I don't think we should do a third DMO. Not at all.
Okay, I just want to clarify because we keep saying create a DMO, and that means creating a DMO, not necessarily partnership with a separate nonprofit that's positioning themselves to be a DMO.
Right. If we created a DMO, we would look like, we would be going the direction of Folly Beach.
Correct.
I thought I heard consensus around here that we really not only, try to really collaborate with CVB, repair the relationship, ask and really demand more accountability and more local focus for Isle of Palms. And during that, and that would be our ask if it's all approved by council. And along with that, recommending that with our newly formed Chamber of Commerce, that we really keep our eye on them to see how they're developing, because going forward with them being a DMO, and if they really are successful, they may be able to partner, not only with the city, but with Explore Charleston, like they're talking about, and give us more of the local focus that we need versus the regional focus that CVB provides.
Meaning that we recommend to the ATAX folks and the city that they do everything they can to support the Chamber of Commerce's development and growth.
Well said.
I don't agree with staying the course with CVB. I think.
Well, we have to right now until we.
Yeah, I'm not, I would have to see more from the chamber to understand, because I've got some questions that it seems to me, or sounded to me as though they're in line with the city's thinking about transparency and about local focus and I got questions about membership on how they would form their committee and who would be on it and all that, but those are details. I would recommend that this committee would recommend to the city or a city council that they pursue the option for an alternative DMO. One would be the chamber. Forming our own, I don't think it has the passion for it in this committee anyway. That would be an option, but given what they presented and what they're doing, I think they're a viable alternative. And I don't like the idea of waiting. I correct me if I'm wrong, but was the language put in the budget for the 30% that says CVB is our designated provider for as a DMO until the city council determines there's another alternative that can money can be directed towards?
That's correct.
Okay, so right now the city council is going to approve a budget tonight for the coming year. Is that
That's correct.
Okay, so in that budget is the ATAX 30% fund. And now the city council has the discretion to either give it all to CVB or divide it up to a second alternative DMO. in that is in force for the next 12 months. So I see no reason to wait. I think if consensus is that the Chamber of Commerce is the best option for pursuing it, I think the city should encourage that and not wait. I think there's a role for CVB, and they should certainly be a part of it. But for us to sit here and say, well, we're going to put them on notice that they have to do better or communicate better, be more transparent, or we've been saying that for forever. And I just think that it's time to do something different that targets and focuses Isle of Palms, the businesses, the rentals, the residents even. I mean, with it's just I just don't like the idea of spending all this time getting all these ideas and say, well, let's give them the chance to continue to do what they've been doing. I think it's time to make some action to improve things.
We would have to create a DMO very quickly.
They already have. Well, I mean, they're in the process of doing that.
Right, so we could.
I mean, they're
Within the year, so you could set it aside until
they're-
they get their stuff
their
together.
501c6 is they're referring to it as a DMO.
Yeah, but they just formed 4 months ago. So I think that it would be prudent for the city to get more information from them about their ability to develop and support a tourism promotion program. I don't think that they are there yet. You've just heard it from them.
I said the city should encourage them to continue. to
Does
go
that mean
forward.
financially, supporting financially in some capacity to help them get to that point? I think that that's why they came to ATEX requesting
Yeah, I
$10,000.
don't, I mean, personally, yes, I would say yes. But not in a big way, because 6 months from now, or they're January 1, they might be ready. But to, I just think to just do the same old, continuing on just makes no sense. And
That decision is not going to be made by this group. That decision will be made by city council
But this
as
group
to how
is
to spend the
making this
30%.
suggestion.
Right, but
my recommendation was that the city council consider splitting them, doing what's the language in the budget says is they could either that right now CVB is a designated provider, and if another one emerges, then the city council can determine to send money that way. And I'm just recommending that they consider a second alternative.
I'm here. I think we're hearing you. I think that it's going to be up to council to determine when is the alternative ready to take on that responsibility. But I think that there seems to be consensus among the group that supporting the chamber is something the city should pursue. Supporting that financially certainly would be viable so that they can continue to position themselves as an organization that could have a tourism promotion program. I think that the timing is going to be decided upon their ability to get to that point, to the place where council feels comfortable giving them an amount of money from the 30%. What is that percentage? That's going to be a discussion that council will have to determine.
And I think we do have information that you can, factual stuff that you can refer to say, okay, here's my decision on how it's split up, and these are the reasons how we got to that number. There's information that we have on that. And as far as the comment or question about metrics, one of the things that I think we should say to CVB is, we would like you to focus on group sales, on off-season conferences, that kind of thing. And that which should be measurable, that they can go back and say, you know, this is our success on bringing in group sales and conferences and weddings and so on and so forth. And that be a part of how they're measured.
That would be part of the accountability that we're talking about. We could just add that to what we already have here in terms of what does success look like and more accountability. What I'm hearing, I think from most of the group, correct me if I'm wrong, is that our recommendation is going to be that we ensure more accountability from CVB, better collaboration, more accountability, more local focus on Isle of Palms. And, and that would include things like group sales or whatever. But that we also recommend that going forward, we look at a DMO like the Chamber of Commerce, that if it gets up and going, at some point, if it becomes a viable option, that we look at carving off some of that 30% of those dollars to that organization to do more local marketing of Isle of Palms. Does that capture it pretty good or not?
I think so. I don't think we have a timing
Yeah.
set to it. I think that clearly they're working towards becoming a DMO that has an ongoing tourism promotion program, and that could be a conversation that council will have to decide, when that time comes, and then how to split that money. What would be a reasonable and appropriate split, knowing that the CVB does support the cities, has been supporting the city's accommodation tax revenue for the past, many years, clearly with some success, because this part of I guess we're victims of our own success. It's what I've heard say, because our accommodation tax revenue continues to grow. Therefore, that 30% continues to grow. Is there anything else? I know we talked about also recommending the council to have a strong advocacy towards changing the state law mandate that indicates that that it has to be 30% spent on tourism promotion. Is that something you all want included in your recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like everybody's heads nodding on that. Was there something else you captured there also, Desiree? Or is that it?
No, the city council tonight, when they're approving the budget, do they decide tonight that money has to go to CBD?
We decide.
It's still open.
We decide tonight to approve that budget. The 30% is earmarked to go to a DMO or DMOs. In this case, we have a DMO, not plural. So that's what we do tonight. 30% is earmarked. It does not dictate as to how it is spent over the next year. Correct, Desiree?
Yes. Right now, there's, just like Rusty said, there's one DMO. If a new DMO becomes available, then state law allows the city to distribute that 30% differently.
So the money is available still.
Yes.
Okay.
But our recommendation to the city is that we support the chamber's development as a potential DMO for the future. Is that correct?
Correct. That would be our recommendation. Now, keep in mind too, none of this that we're discussing today will be brought up at council tonight. All we're doing tonight is approving a budget or disapproving it, but I'm pretty sure we're going to approve it.
So let's
This-
maybe recap, Rusty.
Right.
Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, let's recap. But the point I want to make before we do that is our recommendations that we come out of here today, we'll recap those. I will be, and Desiree will be taking to city council next month at that meeting. So that's when we'll make formal recommendations as to what the outcome of this task force is. Further down the agenda, we're going to talk real briefly, but I think after today, our work's going to be done in terms of what the task force does, and it would be ready to move on to city council. So Desiree, if you want to go ahead and recap real quickly,
Sure.
then we can talk about the other.
So I'm hearing three recommendations. One is for the city to request more accountability, collaboration, and local focus from the CVB, who's acting as our current DMO. Support the development of the IOP Chamber of Commerce to serve as an alternative DMO in the future that would focus on local tourism advertisement. And third, that the city should advocate changes to state law that would reduce the percentage that currently is mandated to be spent on tourism promotion and advertisement. Those three seem to be, I see head noddings. Maybe, yes. Well, I think if you reduce the 30%, that means that the current 65% that is able to be used in those type of activities. I guess when I say lower the 30%, I'm at the same time saying increase to 65, that gives more flexibility in how those monies are spent. I think you can entertain a motion, Chair,
Mhm.
to memorialize the recommendation.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to memorialize what we just discussed?
I'll make that motion.
Yeah.
And
I'll
essentially,
second
it'll
it.
be the three recommendations that I just spelled out.
And Curtis seconded. All right, let's do a roll call vote on this one as to either aye or nay.
Mr. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Kay,
Aye.
Mr. Burns.
Aye.
Ms. Vega. Mr. Paris. Councilmember Streetman,
Aye.
all in favor?
Okay, all right, good discussion. Item number 5, discussion of what additional data research information needed by the task force. Does the task force feel that we've accomplished our mission?
Yeah.
I think we have a consensus, Ray? Yeah. Okay. All right, so that's unanimous. In terms of next step and assignments, we memorialize what we discussed today. I think it's good work. It's been done by the task force that we can go forward next month with good, solid recommendations to city council. I don't see a reason for a next meeting date. I think that we can say that the task force has done what it was asked to do or tasked to do. And what I'd like to do is also thank all of you for serving. You've been excellent, a lot of great input, a lot of great questions, a lot of discussion. We had some really good presentations that we've seen. And again, I want to thank you for your service on this. And with that, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Rusty, for all your work.
Part-time job.
Oh, man.